Alright, so let's take a look at the paradigm of endings for nominals. So let's take a couple words here. We've got theos. We've got there's zeta, zoe, and technon. I think that's there. So these words can be broken down into what's called a stem and an ending. So the stem would be the word with no ending on it. So we got theo, the ending would be sigma. We've got zoe, which actually has no ending. And you have this kind of techno, like that. And the ending would be a nu. So stem and ending. These case endings here are the endings that you'll see on a stem. Now, as I mentioned when we looked at phrases, there's three different things that are going to change for nominals. You're going to have case changes, case, and you're going to have gender, and you're going to have number. So on this chart, you have case, gender, and number. And you have one other thing which is called the declension pattern. Basically what that means is if the stem of a word ends with an omicron, then it will be second declension, like that, like that. If the stem of the word ends in an eta or an alpha, so let me actually write these up here. Omicron equals second declension. Eta or alpha equals first declension. And if it ends with a consonant, then that's going to be third declension. So this is just a way of showing you, well, when you have the stem of a word and the word takes a particular ending, it's going to follow certain patterns depending on what the word ended with in the first place. This is very similar to what we saw two consonants come together, that kind of thing. In this case, we've got certain endings go on certain vowels. And if you remember from the beginning, every word ends in a vowel or one of several consonants. And so that's what determines which declension pattern it follows. If it ends with an alpha or eta, it's first declension. If it ends with omicron, it's second declension. If it ends with a consonant, it's third declension. Now those declension patterns aren't meaningful at all. They don't have any impact on the meaning. It's just a matter of how the letters actually come together in the patterns that were used based on what a stem ended with. Alright, so besides the numbers of the declension patterns, I've also included a little letter which signals to you which gender you're looking at, because there's three genders if you remember. We've got masculine, feminine, and neuter. So you can see on the chart an M, an F, and an N. Now in the third declension, masculine and feminine are identical, and then there's neuter. Next we've got the cases. So case, we've got four letters here, N, G, D, A. That stands for nominative, genitive, dative, and accusative. Now you may remember that one of the major things that changes in different nominal groups, in different phrases, is the kinds of relationships that take place between the words. If you remember when we had the word theou rather than theos, that signaled to us that this word meant of God instead of just God. The reason for that is that, as you can see, the ending of the word had changed. The sigma ending was the nominative ending, because this word theos has a stem that ends in an omicron, and for that reason it's a second declension word, and so it's in this one of these columns. In this case, it happens to be a masculine word, which you don't need to know right now. You just need to be able to recognize. And so the nominative form is the sigma, but the genitive, rather than a sigma, is the upsilon. And what the genitive tells you is that the word has a kind of relationship. There we go. Now I'll write all of this down on a cheat sheet so you can quickly look at these descriptions.